All right, so if you know me at all, you know that I will accept absolutely zero Davis Warren, Alex Orji, and Jack Tuttle slander in my comment section. I just won't have it. But also, 2024's offense was kind of sus. I mean, it wasn't very good. And so the general consensus is that coming into 2025, I mean, the offense can't be worse, right? Like, they have to be somewhat better, right? Right? Anyway, I digress. That is what's being discussed coming into the 2025 season, and people are kind of getting a little bit excited just because of some of the rumors that have come out about Bryce Underwood, specifically about Bryce Underwood. There are a couple of points of criticism with the offense right now, that being potentially lack of depth at wide receiver room and lack of playmakers, and then a lack of cohesion on the offensive line. But there's actually a source, maybe a rather unlikely source. I don't know that it's unlikely, but I was a little bit surprised and a tad bit intrigued that has come out and said that actually maybe we don't need to temper our expectations, and maybe that doesn't mean promising, everything necessarily in 2025, but actually maybe this season's going to be a lot better than we fear it could be, if that makes sense. But I'll get into that in just a second. First off, this is the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Thank you so much for hanging out, and thank you for 1,900 subscribers. The race to 2K is on. So if you like Michigan football, obviously the natural thing for you to do then is to click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single Michigan football update. We're also potentially discussing the idea of covering Michigan basketball in the spring. The problem is, or during basketball season, because that happens more than just spring. The problem is that I don't know as much about basketball as I do football, and I would honestly say that my football knowledge is kind of sus too. About as sus as Michigan's offense last year. So we'll see what happens. In any case, the rumors about Bryce Underwood may in fact not be rumors. The excitement about his physical development, about his maturity, are being echoed across a lot of different sources. A lot of different publications and journalists that have come in to observe Michigan's practices have all basically said the same thing. You don't understand. This guy is leagues beyond people who have been in college for 4 years already, for playing their full career in college. He is that good. Bryce Underwood is that good. And obviously, it's one of those things that if you haven't seen it yet, it's really difficult to believe. And frankly, it's also difficult because we got a lot of positive news from the coaching staff about last year's quarterback room prior to that season, and obviously things didn't really work out the way that we were hoping. Jack Tuttle, former Michigan quarterback, former Indiana quarterback, was on Isaiah Hull's podcast and had some really encouraging words about the offense and about Bryce Underwood specifically. But first, let's get into the QB room and depth. So coming into the 2025 season, there has been criticism of the quarterback room due to expectations around Tuttle, but injuries derailed things. That was coming into 2024, rather. So Jack Tuttle did mention that coming into spring, there were a lot of issues going on with the QB room, and Jack Tuttle himself was injured for all of spring and all of fall ball, and didn't actually practice until the week of the Washington game. He said that maybe he got into practice the week prior, but didn't actually full-on practice until the week of the Washington game. And then, as we know, Alex Orji was benched in that game in favor of Jack Tuttle. And frankly, Alex Orji had actually come in because Davis Warren had gotten benched the week prior. So it was just a poorly managed quarterback situation at Michigan last season. But Jack Tuttle mentions that coming into that Washington game, he hadn't practiced at all. And now we're at a point where it's like, do we really trust the quarterback development or the quarterback room coming into 2025? Well, he says that basically the entire thing has completely flipped. So Jack Tuttle had noted a couple of times that a healthy and deep quarterback room is absolutely paramount to the success of your offense. And obviously that's the case. We spoke about this on the show last night, that Sharon Moore was talking at Big Ten Media Days saying that, Bryce Underwood, his size, his physicality and all that, they would love to do the QB runs. They would love to do the RPO type stuff. But if Bryce Underwood runs the ball and takes a good hit and gets injured, who is that next QB that can step in and take his place? And so you're kind of in a precarious situation then. Do you use Bryce Underwood to his full potential as a true freshman even? Or do you kind of play things a little bit conservatively until you can make sure that you have a second and third string quarterback developed enough that they can, enter into the game and you can still be confident about where the offense is going with them? Can Mikey Keene step up into that? Jake Garcia didn't exactly light things on fire at Eastern Carolina, but can they step into that role and fill in where Bryce Underwood would have to come out? And frankly, I think the drop off in ceiling is so dramatic from what we're hearing about Bryce Underwood to a Mikey Keene and to a Jake Garcia that it would be pretty difficult for Michigan to make that up. Mikey Keene and Jake Garcia, not fully convinced that they can be as much of a dual threat as Bryce Underwood could be, and so Michigan's offense would get constricted in terms of what it's capable of running. Should Bryce Underwood should Bryce Underwood get hurt, frankly. But this spring, the room looks a lot stronger with active contributions coming from Mikey Keene, Jake Garcia, Bryce, obviously. And Jaden Davis and Davis Warren are both really attacking things with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Jack Tuttle mentioned that they're attacking the process every day and that he's actually really pretty excited for those guys. Now, I don't know that we should really read into that and say, oh, yeah, Jaden Davis is totally going to be ready for 2025. He's probably not. And I'm not really sure what's going on with the Jaden Davis experiment, to be totally honest with you. Although he does say that Davis Warren is getting stronger every single day. So his rehab is coming along really nicely, which is good. Definitely excited for him there. That's the QB room. Offensive coordinator, though. So Isaiah Hull's talked to Kurt Campbell. He's been harsh on him. Kurt Campbell knows this. Isaiah Hull never said anything that Kurt Campbell wasn't already aware of. But Chip Lindsey is not just a different coordinator, but far more experienced than what Kurt Campbell was. Chip Lindsey brings a fresh perspective to Michigan, but is still going to be expected to maintain Sharon Moore's broader vision for the offense. So it's not like Michigan's going to all of a sudden abandon smash mouth football or smash football in general. Running the ball should still be Michigan's bread and butter and main identity. The thing is, though, is that Chip Lindsey brings in a better passing perspective where he is very good at blending in running football with passing football. He brings in strong passing concepts that really help open up the run game and, frankly, the run game with the passing game. And his experience at UCF and Auburn makes him a trusted, battle-tested coach. And frankly, that's really going a long way in instilling confidence in the offense itself in terms of their ability to trust Chip Lindsey to call the right plays and know what he's doing coming into the season. Now, specifically about Bryce Underwood, Jack Tuttle mentioned a couple of different things, which is pretty awesome. He specified, he said, the sky's the limit for that kid. And we know that. We do know that Bryce Underwood, the sky is the limit for him. But here's the thing. National skepticism exists due to his youth. He is still a true freshman. So do we need to pull back on our expectations for him? That being said, internal opinions, those close to the program, are much more optimistic. They note that his football IQ is considered exceptional for his age. Connor Stalions himself said, look, he's way beyond anybody that you've seen at this level. He understands things innately that take other players years to pick up on. He is being compared to elite quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. He is said to already have standout throwing ability. Jack Tuttle compared him against J.J. McCarthy, like I said, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Michael Penix, he said that Bryce Underwood is already right up there at the top with them, and in fact might even throw the ball better than them already, which is kind of scary considering, as Michigan fans, do we want to put this much pressure on him? And at this point, it's really difficult not to put pressure on him and not to get excited about what he can bring to the table for Michigan, because everybody, literally everybody, is saying that Bryce Underwood is going to be basically the next best thing since sliced bread. So it's hard not to get excited. That being said, who's he going to throw the ball to? This was the last thing that was mentioned as far as the offense is concerned, is the wide receiver room. You know, a lot of the national narrative right now is saying that Michigan lacks receiving talent. Um, and quite frankly, yeah, I mean, they don't exactly have the firepower at wide receiver as like an Ohio State. I mean, they probably never will have the type of players that Ohio State has on the wings. But that's okay. They don't need that type of firepower, clearly, to beat Ohio State, obviously, but then also to win national titles. Um, but he does mention Donovan McCulley and Anthony Simpson as being the two known commodities. Both of them have the most experience, whether that's good or bad. Both of them have had some injury issues in the past. So, what did they bring to the table? And Donovan McCulley, he specifically emphasized as having a ton of value to Michigan's wide receiver room. They A lot of the national narrative is really overlooking Donovan McCulley, and do so at your own risk. He was a quarterback at Indiana who actually he played quarterback for Indiana in that 2021 game against Michigan. He ran for a touchdown, but obviously Michigan stomped him that game. That was a really good game. When he stepped on the field for Michigan, he instantly became, as a wide receiver, Tuttle notes that he instantly became one of the best athletes on the field in the spring. Now, consistency and growth have positioned him to be a lead playmaker alongside Anthony Simpson. And that was something that Tuttle really emphasized about him, was that he is very physically gifted. He automatically stepped on the field in spring and became one of the superior athletes on the field because of his experience, because of that confidence that he brings to the table for Michigan. So there's a lot there that can definitely prove the critics wrong about not just Michigan's wide receiver room, but Michigan's offense as a whole. So a lot of things happening with Michigan's offense to be excited about. I'm really getting excited, but I would love to know your thoughts. Should we be excited about Michigan's offense? That's a stupid question. Of course we should be excited. I mean, who doesn't get excited about football in general? I was excited about Michigan's offense last year, even going into the Ohio State game. Well, no, I wasn't, but whatever. I just like football. In any case, I'd love to know your thoughts, so let me know what you think down in the comment section. Don't forget to join us Wednesday nights at 8:30. Join us in the chat for our live stream there, and we will catch you in the next video.